All right, welcome back to another session episode, adventure expedition of Seeking Revonar. We're going to jump right in. And tonight we have Eingar. Well, let's go with this. I always get Eingar and Irovel mixed up. So Irovel is the expedition leader for tonight's expedition out of Port Bastion. He has recruited to go along with him several adventurers that have been on adventures with him before. I don't think there's anybody here that's new, so we don't have to necessarily introduce anybody new. But we have Timor, Eingar, and Alberix all ready to head back out into the snow and adventure in Seeking Revonar through the winter of Revonar as we get going here on a Thursday night. So, I think without too much ado, we have no new characters to introduce. So these are all regular characters that you've seen before. You can check out all the other episodes if you want to see descriptions. Mostly we have if I recall, a Dwarven Ranger. We have a Furbog Paladin, a Gith Zerai Druid, and then we have a Wizard who acts like a warrior. Who's really kind of a blade singer, so kind of that mix. You haven't multi-classed yet, though, right?
I have not.
So yeah, because aren't you supposed to in that whole blade singer thing? Isn't there supposed to be like a multi-class going on there?
Not especially. I've been considering maybe doing a dip into Warlock Hexblade just because of the connection with the Raven Queen lore there as well. But
All right. All right, cool. So we've got a warrior kind of wizard, which is a cool, or spell singer, which is a cool, fun class. So that's who's heading out. We shall say that most expeditions have kind of canceled out, and it's a pretty quiet morning in the Lovely Coin as most people have looked outside and the snow is coming down. It is probably going to be several feet by the time it's over, and it's definitely super cold out there. So for those of you that, when I want to know what kind of weather Seeking Revonar has, I just look out my window. So everything I describe here is exactly out on my porch at the moment. So our group will head out. The tavern is quiet this morning. Most people are sleeping in because they weren't going out. A little bit of news you guys picked up over the last week. Now, a couple of these adventurers went out on the last expedition with Killian, and they made it back, and the teleportation scroll, town scroll things were jacked up by this group when they brought back a bunch of unknown ore that had never been seen before. And it has somehow affected the magic that's in the Temple of Helm. They're still investigating that, and actually the Temple of Helm is quite cross at those of you that came back, as they have narrowed it down to your group coming back having caused the problem in the first place, and actually the ore that you brought back. We weren't sure what the ore was. The expedition leader sold it to the dwarfs, the Dankill brothers, dwarfs. They own the silver mine south of town, and they have hired some of their best blacksmiths, some of their best that they have, a big kind of group of dwarves. And they are currently moving or working that metal into various objects to see would it be good for making swords or armor or tools, or what kind of, because they've never seen the ore either. So it's some type of ore that they have never used before. The other rumor that you guys have heard about over the week is that there is a elven trade party here in town. They came with 3 wagon loads of trade goods. They were the mayor has put them up in in like kind of one of their own little houses. They are kept under strict guard, I guess. Not so much for that there's any fear that they would do anything, but just to keep people away from them, as negotiations between Port Bastion and some unknown elven city to the north starts and commences. So it's kind of like an opening up of some type of trade route and finding out about who your far to the north neighbors might be. More of that will probably trickle out in some of the other sessions that are coming up pretty soon. So there is an elven contingent or an elven delegation in town at the moment. The rumor that's going around is that these elves look different than any of the adventurer elves. So they're not Shatterkai, they're not wood elves, they're not the high elves, they're not, sun or moon elves. I'm trying to think of all the different Forgotten Realms elves that are out there. They're not drow.
Eladrin.
They're not Eladrian.
Eladrin.
Yeah, I forget what the. Yeah, I think it's Eladrian. They're not those types of elves. They're something different. They're a different form of elf in some way, so they definitely look different than any of the adventurers. Because we do have some adventurers that are elves. I think, in fact, Iravel's an elf, correct? You're Shatterkai?
Yes, I am Shatterkai.
Yeah. So a different type of elf. Now you haven't seen them, but you've just been hearing the rumors around. So there's this big swirling thing going around. So those are the rumors that are hitting town. Things are going on. There's the dwarves were very interested in the mine, and they're thinking about sending out a dwarven party to go take a look at that. There's still mass amounts of adventurers still coming in on the ships from the Sword Coast. They seem to just keep ship after ship, group after group. The town's getting pretty full. It's starting to overflow, really. And with the amount of adventurers and stuff that are going out. And there's lots of expeditions going out. And there have been probably a handful that have not come back. So there have been groups that have went out and we haven't heard from them again. But it hasn't been any of the groups we've seen here on camera, but that has been happening. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with our quest. We're going to do what I normally do. I'm going to go ahead and open up my notes because I don't even have them open up yet as we get going here. I'm also going to go shut my door real quick. So give me 1 sec.
Weren't we going to ask the mayor something, guys?
You had plans to talk to the mayor. Hit him up.
I forgot what I was going to ask him.
Turn my mic back on. Here we go. All right. World info overview is what I need. There we go. Okay, so Iravel, you've decided to take your group north. If we look at the map, well, I probably didn't put the newest one in the game, but you guys have it in Discord. This one is 6. So it's 3 days to the north, and you expect to be 3 days back. So you think it's going to be about a 6-day trip, though the snow and, just trying to find your way out there. We'll see how long it actually takes. So who is going to be the navigator for tonight's expedition?
I could be.
Okay. So you're going to go ahead and make me a roll, and this is going to be a survival check. All right. So let's see here. So Eingar rolls an 8, which is not quite enough to do a great job. So we'll go ahead and put up here 1 fail. What all it means is that there was a couple of times where you're looking at these different trails. You're looking at an animal trail, and you're looking at this other animal trail, and you're thinking, okay, this one's going to keep bringing us north. And then after you follow it for a while, what you didn't realize is it brought you more west than you thought, and you've had to backtrack a couple of times. So you've actually added on 2 extra days than you thought this whole trip was going to take. So instead of 6, we're going to jump it up to 8 because we've had a few miss turns here or there. You are heading north up to another set of jagged mountains, but this is to the west of those. And as far as you know from some of the scouts that have been out this way, there's an enormous mountain range straight north To the west is the forest area, but if you get a little bit north of that forest area, it turns into some plains. And there's apparently a big swath of plains up to the north that you haven't seen yet. And that's kind of the direction you're going. All right, so we got that. Who is going to do the foraging roll? So this will be the nature.
Does the verbal want to do that?
I can. I've got to roll one. Just pick which one you want to have a bad.
Sounds good to me.
That was survival?
Correct.
I thought it was nature.
I'm sorry, yeah. Foraging is nature.
Damn it, you're killing me.
I'm trying to do 5 things at once here as I get caught up.
Even better.
Even better.
I think I got a 20 last week, didn't I? Didn't I crit that?
Yeah, you did. Nice job.
Fail. Okay, so let me get the notes correct so that we have them all there. Foraging. So the DC was pretty easy on that. But you critted, so that's nice. So foraging crit. You did the foraging crit last week too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 100 gold pieces. So yeah, once again, you have kept your eye out and you have found what nobody else has seemed to be able to find, because it's been wintertime. It's been really hard for some of the apothecaries and the herbalists and some of the healers in town to get the types of ingredients that they need to kind of stave off the pneumonia and walking flu and all the stuff that's going around town, because we've got so many people packed into a small place. It's super cold. There's lots of places where people don't have anywhere to go, so they're sleeping in stoops or they're in little shanty towns that are starting to bring up, and then so disease is coming and colds and those kinds of things are all happening. People aren't eating quite right and that kind of thing. The sun, they're not getting enough sun. All that kind of stuff is conspiring to make a large amount of the population here start to catch colds and pneumonias and things like that. And so since that's been happening, they've been running out of the materials that they typically use to try to stave that stuff off, hold it back so that it doesn't take over or sweep the town in a fever of some sort and pneumonia. And you come across some, we'll just call it probably just some earth root that is really a common thing that they use to help with pneumonia, that kind of thing. And you're able to collect while you've gone through here enough that when you do get back, you'll be able to sell a big pouch of it. It's almost like a sack of it, and you'll get 100 gold for that. So good job.
Just for the record, I split that last time, so when we get back, remind me, everyone 25.
All right, so good job there.
Clearly the lady was guiding my hand. And, well.
All right, next one is our encounter roll. This is the one where you guys are trying to hide your tracks. You're trying to not stumble into something that's out foraging or hunting, because you want to get to where your expedition is going and you don't want to expend resources, get into fights that you can't win, or even fights that just use up your resources more than you want to. This is the Vanguard roll. The Vanguard is the person that tries to keep a lookout while everybody else is kind of doing their own little job and trudging along. Who is going to make the Vanguard roll?
That'll be me.
All right, so for Vanguard roll, we have to decide how many heavy armor people we have. So we got a 2 for that. Okay, so that person. How many wear medium armor? So there's a 1, there's a 1. Okay. And then how many arcane casters?
Right here.
So, okay. So our DC for that then is, let me go back to my notes here, world info. Encounter is 10 plus. Okay, so, all right, I have a DC set. This is a stealth roll. You're doing all you can to keep your group from being found or heard or noticed as you trudge through the snow. So go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Great.
not great, but still not too far off. It was a 15 was the DC. You just missed it. So all this did was you had to reroute around. This time it was maybe probably an enormous kind of like cave bear type thing. There was no reason to fight it. It obviously had some cubs. You didn't really want to deal with it, but you didn't want to get any closer to its cave. You didn't want to get any closer to its younglings. So you guys deviated around and you added on just a whole nother day to your track as you backtracked, came out of that ravine, found another way to go around, found a different trail to follow, and then got back on course as you made a big wide berth of where that creature was just to stay out of its way. So the trip now is just going to be basically a total of 9 total days. So keep that in mind, because when you get back, you're going to buy your rations to refill the rations that you have eaten during this 9-day travel. And then I think we've got that. So let's go back over and write that down. That one was a fail. DC 15 I like to keep track of. And then the last one would be our rumor. This is the person who tries to keep an eye out for other interesting things that might get put on the map so that other expeditions can go out and check them out. So there's one person trying to keep an eye out for ruins, temples, shrines, weird rock formations, caves, layers, nests, anything that might be something that an expedition would want to go and take a look at. Even though they won't get there in this one, it's something they see off in the distance, whether it's on the way out or on the way back. And they can decide if they want to go back there later, or if they tell the Rula about it, get paid by Rula, and then some other expedition can go out to it. So who's going to make the rumor check for the group?
That'd be me.
All right, so this one's a perception. Killed it. Good job. Pass. So we are going to say on the way back, you are going to see something which I will add a new rumor to the list. And at the end of tonight's show, assuming you make it back, you can decide if you're going to keep it to yourselves as a party, or if you're going to let Rula know about it. She usually pays 25 gold for that, and then they mark it out on the map, and then other groups can go to it. But you can make that decision a little bit later. What you think? Well, we'll get to what you think you see at the end if once we get to that point. We don't have to do it right now. So that's a pass. So that's a 25 that, and 25 that for Albie. Okay, perfect. We got all that stuff out of the way. We can get to some real Dungeons and Dragons now. Sweet. So, let's see, we got that. Yep. Okay. So on the 5th day, it's getting towards, on the 4th day, you get to where you think this area was. And what has been drawn on there is some scouts and some other expeditions that have passed by this way, though not have come to this thing yet, have said that they've seen some type of building out on the plains. So you're thinking you should be able to see or find a building of some sort out on the plains. So you get there by day 4, and you think you're in the right area. Now, off to your right are these enormous mountains that rise up thousands of feet. Again, very similar to the mountains that are to the south. All the mountains around here go from where everything's at sea level, and then it's just thousands of feet up. So they're just these sheer, straight-faced kind of mountain ranges, full of snow at this point. You can't see the tops of them right now because of the low cloud cover and the snow that's been crashing down on you guys for the last couple of days. You've had some pretty good camps on the way out. You've built like little snow rounds and, found some wood and caught it on fire, and then tried to sleep as best you can, and then moved on the next morning, setting up your watches and such. You've not seen a lot of wildlife. Whatever's going on out here is because of the way the snow is coming down. It seems like a lot of stuff is just hibernating, sleeping, staying under cover. You're not seeing a lot of stuff as you travel. It's kind of eerily quiet that you've traveled most of these days. That you mostly hear the crunch of snow, the jingle of armor here and there, the huffing of breath from your companions. Some of this is probably easier traveling than others, but it starts to weigh on you. Your packs and your armor and everything that you have. Your boots are soaked. Your socks are soaked. You try to warm them up or dry them out whenever you set camp. And that's kind of what you've had for the last several days. Now you think you're in the area, and the first thing that you notice is when you get to the north area, you've been going through what has been forest for most of this, kind of a not a thick forest, but more of like a light forest. And then some hills have started popping up and some elevation changes have been happening. The mountains are bracketed to your right-hand side as you travel north. And then off to your left, it looks like it gets more thick forest. And some of you who've been out that way know that those forests get much deeper and darker and more overgrown the further you go west. Every now and then through the canopy, you would catch sight of a giant dormant volcano that everybody kind of calls Spider Mountain, which is one of the things that helps you navigate. It's an area where the Darklings have set up their camp, and there's a lot of stories about that whole place and the evil that had been ran out of there many years ago. And it's kind of a landmark that a lot of the expeditions use because it rises so high up out of the tree canopy. And then you come up over some rises, you come up over the forest, and the forest seems to give way, and out in front of you is just basically from here to as far as you can see in the horizon seems to be a set of plains that is just snow covered. It's almost like you're looking at a snow covered ocean that's not moving. It looks so enormous and it goes for so far that it's probably miles at least that your vision can go out to before it kind of drops off. And then it's just plains and plains and plains and mostly flat, not very much hill elevation, but a little bit here and there. And you're just kind of astounded by how much there's no trees or anything out here. The other thing you kind of notice right away is the wind picks up out on the plains. The mountains are still to the right, and there's not a lot of cover, and it's been pretty gray. You haven't really seen the sky much on this whole trip, so it's not like blue sky and bright sunshine or anything. It's just been dark and gray and cloudy this whole time. And so it's like this kind of like twilight, I don't want twilight light, I guess that seems redundant, but it's kind of like a twilight of the difference between like just before the sun's going down or just before it's rising is kind of the light level out here. So kind of like a dim light the whole way out here. You don't see any tracks too much, and you think you're in the right spot, but at this point you don't see a building anywhere. So what does the group start to do at this point? What's the plan now that you think you're in the right spot?
Are there any tracks in the snow at all?
You look around, and the only tracks you see are the ones you guys have created walking to where you're at.
What say you, Aravel?
Could be some magical enchantment keeping it hidden from us.
I am going to take a minute and sit on the ground and start doing primeval awareness.
Okay. Sweet. So tell us a little bit about that. So, all right. Oh, you made third level. Nice.
You'll see Eingeir sit down, kind of tamp a little space in the snow, and then sit down cross-legged and just close his eyes and start rocking back and forth and just humming to himself. and it's almost like he's meditating for about a minute. And then he'll open his eyes and let you know what he felt in the mile around us.
Okay. Now let's go over a couple of things too. What is your favored terrain for your ranger? What'd you end up picking? Oh,
I believe it was
there you go.
mountains.
Oh, mountains. Okay. All right. So within a mile of where you're at, let's see. So you would be able to pick up aberrations, celestials, dragons, elemental, fae, fiends, and undead. This feature doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. Within a mile of where you guys are, you probably pick up
Say dragon, say dragon.
you might pick up some undead. And you might pick up some fae. And possibly one elemental.
Angar will dust off his pants and stand up. My friends, with in the area, I can feel some undead, or dead and walking. A little bit of fae, and there might be an elemental around here somewhere, but I can't tell you exactly where.
That is most odd.
But if it's close, perhaps we could do some kind of search pattern within a mile. Big, broad sweeps. If we're looking for a building, it should stick out.
And if it is being magically hidden from us, the Fae would be a prime source for that kind of magic.
Those of the Dream Court are known to do such things, aren't they?
Yes, let's start looking around, maybe find some tracks or any other evidence.
What of that bird of yours?
I can send him out, but he doesn't have any particularly unique vision or anything that would really particularly help us.
On foot it is. With that, he starts poking ahead of him in this plane to make sure that whatever he's walking in front of, there's no giant hole or anything like that, and trudging on.
All right. You guys can do a group survival check. See, as you're looking for tracks, you're looking for things that catch your eye where you might find this building that you're looking for, basically kind of searching out in the wilderness.
Can I make that with advantage then, because they're helping me?
We'll let everybody, it's going to be a group, so everybody gets to roll. So 19, a 12, a 2, a 14. All right. Yeah, so you're searching around and you head kind of north and you're getting into further and further into the plains. You go far enough north that you no longer see the woods behind you, the forest. You've gone far enough into the plains. And you think that maybe you've gone a little bit too far north. So you kind of make it this idea that, well, you're going to backtrack a little bit over towards the mountains, swing back around towards where you came out of the woods. And if you haven't seen it yet, well, then the only thing you really have left to do is to head a little bit west to see if you find anything. So as you're backtracking a little bit back to the south and heading a little bit to the east towards the mountains, you see kind of what seemed like it's almost like not a mirage, but a trick of the terrain where it looked like it was flat, but there actually was a depression. And you guys kind of come up over a rise and you see what looks to be like something pretty interesting. So let's move you guys over. Let's see, I got everybody set up here, so this is good. So I'm going to move your tokens over to a map, so give me just a moment. All right, so and I've always got to resize. And I'll put you at the area you're kind of coming in here. There we go. Yep, okay, good. Now let's move you guys over. Oh, maybe. There we go. And it's light out here, so you guys should be able to see. And I feel like we need a little ambiance here. So can you guys see the map?
Yep. Don't see anything on it just yet, though.
Yeah, so you kind of come up over this rise and you kind of come down it, and there's some trees here and there, and kind of between the trees you see the tops of some standing stones that are obviously placed in some type of pattern. So as you guys wind through and you get to the spot where you're at now, you see what looks to be like a set of standing stones in a circle. You see a flat stone in the center, and then basically what looks like a big barrow, kind of like a mound, that's just covered in snow right below it to the south of it.
Maybe this is what we're looking for?
I'd say it's got to be.
Does this match the descriptions that we've heard? Because I think this rumor started from another group that had said they returned from the place.
Yeah, they had talked about returning from a building of some sort. You're not sure if this would qualify as a building.
Oh, they went into it?
From the rumors of the expedition, they had seen a building, they got up to it, they fought some undead, and then they came back.
Maybe the snow has changed the features of whatever's out here.
Well, we're here, and it's in front of us. I say we look into it.
I'm sure it's warmer in there than it is out here.
Unless there's an ice elemental in there.
Let's move forward, check it out.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so you guys can move your tokens as you see fit. I'm going to zoom out so that our audience can see a little bit more of the map. There we go.
I
can
still
only
can't
see
see
black.
anything on my end. Yeah, same here.
Oh, I did turn on, oh yeah, player has sight, so save. I don't know why this always gets turned off. Sight.
You didn't mention anything about the blood.
I didn't, but you weren't really that close. All right, can everybody see now?
Now it can.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Cool map.
Yeah.
All right, so who wants to be the blood sacrifice so the rest of us can get in?
Pick me.
I don't
pick
care.
me.
Yeah.
Is there blood?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to look at this stone in the middle.
It is not warm or anything. It's more like cold, crystallized, reddish snow at this point. It's probably so it's not like dripping wet blood. It's definitely just reddish snow and ice at this point.
Tamor, do you sense something evil here?
I'll look down into the ground and extend my senses, but if it's being blocked physically, that usually doesn't turn up any. Try my divine sense.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. Go ahead and put it in chat for me so everybody can see it. No, I want to go to options and tokens. There we go.
Total cover pretty much negates everything on that ability.
You definitely sense evil in this area, though. This is definitely desecrated ground. It's more like, not necessarily like you're detecting things, more than like this cloud of evil from the acts of evil that happen here, or the magic, the black magic that's being used, or it's just got that smell and that feel and that texture of dark rituals and such. And you've seen and battled that kind of stuff before.
Is this a door to the south of us?
It is a set of 2 stone doors.
I'm gonna look around and see if any of these pillars or the structure in the middle there, the altar, has any writing on it of any kind.
They do. Go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
My eyes!
Okay. And tell me what languages you speak.
Common, Elvish, and Sylvan.
All right. So as you begin to study, is anybody else doing that? Because
If he asks for help, I will help.
Same here.
Okay, so if you do, each of you make a Constitution save too.
If it's not a language I recognize, I would ask the others.
Okay, so everybody does pretty good. And what are the languages that each of you speak?
Common, Elven, Sylvan, and Giant.
Okay.
Common and dwarf.
Dwarven. Okay, yeah, so none of that stuff. Okay, but each of you, as you look at the symbols that are etched into all of the different stones, and the stones on the inside are covered with all kinds of symbols, Iravel, you would definitely recognize arcane symbols. You would recognize ritualistic symbols, but somehow bastardized. Somehow, when you look at them, your eyes begin to water a little bit, and you have this sensation of nearly throwing up, nearly of kind of losing your balance if you look at it too long, and you can tell that these are some type of dark magic, dark ritual style symbols, probably something along the lines of aberration, maybe something along the lines of draconic, maybe something along the lines of some of the darker cults that are out there. You've seen books where you've been told that's kind of like forbidden knowledge that you shouldn't read because the people that try to use that power lose their soul kind of stuff. And it has the feel of that kind of thing. Even though it doesn't match it exactly, and it's not something you've seen before, it just has the same kind of feeling or texture or artistry to it that forbidden knowledge had. It's clear that this is some type of ritual place, and it's something that's been used recently.
If the party will indulge me, I can spend 10 minutes to ritual cast comprehend languages and try to read it that way.
I think you should absolutely do that before I knock the crap out of everything here.
Please do.
All right, then that is what I will do.
Whichever way the wind is blowing, Albirix is going to try to be on the other side of the rocks to try to block the wind, the cutting wind so much.
Don't get comfortable there. I'm going to push it down.
All right.
Go all Samson.
So go ahead and tell us what this ritual looks like, Gyravel, because I don't know if we've seen you do this one.
I think I may have used it at the first Shrine of Ara, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, you just over time, as I'm going over my spell book, preparing the ritual, you start to see like these just bursting flares of bright blue light come from my eyes, and eventually it just settles into a soft blue glow that when I then touch the surface, I'm able to see the runes and the language transform into glowing blue runes that are the language that I would recognize instead.
Yeah, so as you put your hand on it, you get the overpowering feeling of nauseousness. The symbols seem to dance beneath your fingers a little bit, as if they move with some dark arcane magic. And as you begin to kind of read what it is, you realize that it's actually some type of druidic spell or ritual that has been deformed in some way. The lettering and the marks on the stone make you think of each of the cardinal points are important, and you can tell also that the way this ritual is set up, it has to do with certain phases of the sun and the moon and where the stars are at and certain constellations in the sky. It has to do with as you're moving from one stone to another stone and you're checking, and this takes a while. Even within an hour, you probably would only get to 3 or 4 of the stones before the spell would wear out as you're slowly going. And it kind of fights you a little bit as it tries to leak into your mind what it is. And it feels to you like as you're looking at it, it's a ritual, a sacrifice to some type of a druidic power, some type of dark, malevolent power that involves some type of sacrifice at a certain time, a certain sacrifice at certain times of the year, and it doesn't really necessarily spell out what it does, but those are the impressions you get from these standing stones.
I'll relay that information to the group.
When he starts telling me this, I'm going to go and take a greater interest in these stones now. And I do understand Druidic.
Okay, so go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
$19.
All right. So you do recognize.
Hardy bunch today.
Yeah, you guys are doing good on the rolls. It is druidic, but it angers you how this is being used. It seems to be a very bastardized, a very defamed, but on purpose too. Like it's somebody who understands druidic powers, but are using them incorrectly. This is probably a ritual that usually is used to renew the land, but it's doing something far different than that. It's using a power that isn't meant to be used in this way. But it is clear that it is a druidic magic. It is a druidic ritual that gets performed here.
You had said that he had noticed that there's tells about a time and of the year and stuff like that. Am I able to make that out?
Yeah, it seems to be during the solstices, and so it's either it can happen during a winter solstice, it can happen during a summer, spring, or fall solstice. A certain ritual can be performed here that you think harms. You're not sure if it necessarily harms the land, but it definitely changes something about the land, and you don't get the impression that it's a good thing. It doesn't feel like it is improving the land. It feels like it's doing something else to it.
Albirix is visibly upset. You're right. This is a desecration of some druidic magic. Dan, how long ago was the solstice?
Oh, that's such a good question. Well, by looking at the blood that is kind of sprayed upon the center stone, which is obviously where the sacrifice of something happens, it probably was in the last, I'm going to say it's within the last week. So it was during your travel.
It seems that this is not chance that we have come here at the time that they've made their sacrifice to renew their dark pledge to this land. And with that, is there more writing around the door and stuff as well?
The door has appears to be some type of tomb and some type of burial ground for some type of ancient important figure. Over it, it has warnings of, death to those who defile a sacred grave and those kinds of things. But many of the etchings have been disfigured, and many of what you might have thought were some type of runes, arcane runes, to be a spell of lock or a spell of a shield or a spell of something that was a barrier here. All of those symbols seem to have been scratched out or marked in such a way that they no longer would work correctly.
Can I make out a name or anything like that?
No, anything that looks like it used to have some type of information about what was in here seems to have been marred. And as you're looking at it, it was either done by it wasn't like stone chisels, but it definitely was something that was able to put big gouge marks into the rock, and it was definitely scoured as if to hide the information. You think that the way it looks, it used to be here, but it's definitely been defaced so that you can't see it any longer.
Share that information with everyone here.
Names hold great power. It seems likely that whoever did this wanted whoever is buried here to be forgotten.
I would agree with that. The very least, we must go in here and find out what we can do to reconsecrate this ground once more.
I am not strong enough to reconsecrate the ground, but I am probably strong enough to knock down every one of these stones. So that's my plan for this point in time. But I can go inside first if you want.
If this is a grave, this could be the where the undead that I felt are.
This place has been for a long time. Perhaps it served a better purpose many years before this has been done to it. Let's not be too hasty in knocking it down.
He's going to give you the eyebrow. Say, we'll see.
Do the stone pillars and everything around the outside look to be roughly the same age as the door itself, or do they seem newer?
Good. Go ahead and do an investigation check.
This is why we bring a dwarf, right? Stone cunning.
As a dwarf, can I help him?
Don't they know everything about rock?
If you have something that you think, do you have a skill or anything that helps with that? I forget what they have these days in 5th edition.
Yeah, I don't know. We were grumbling about not having a dwarf with us last week. I'll tell you that.
Well, you guys were in some mines, so that was pretty funny.
I have stone cunning.
Okay. Yeah, you could lend your aid as you and Iravel look around them. And then Iravel can make a roll with advantage.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's terrible.
So you both are looking at it and you're kind of discussing it, and it's hard to say. There's no indication of when these stones were there. They are a different stone than the doors, so they don't match in stone type. You do know it's different. But you're not seeing any indication that would tell you, have these stones been here for a year? Have these stones been here for 10,000 years? Have these stones got put here 3 days ago? There's nothing that really stands out and says any of that to you. You do know that the style or type of stone is different than the doorway, and probably Palinor's character would probably know that the stones kind of match the same type of stone you would find in these mountains around here. The doors are a type of stone that is a little bit more rare and something we haven't seen around here, though not completely uncommon, but it's definitely of a different, more rare type of stone.
Some more. Can you open the door?
I will examine the door, and since this is clearly an evil temple in my head, I'll look for traps of any sort that might be on that door. Might have been placed.
All right, so you can go ahead and do a investigation roll as you peer at the door.
Looks safe to me.
And you didn't roll one? I didn't see it yet. Oh, there it is, 12. You do not see any traps. And actually, one part of the door is slightly ajar from the other one. So it's not quite, they're not quite set. One is just offset a tiny bit from the other one. Not enough that you can see through, but they're not lined up at the moment.
All right, I will give it a pull.
Yeah, and you push them open, and it just slides right open, just pushes right open. Let me remove dynamic lighting, and let's move the layer here.
Oh, lit torches already?
Yes.
I'll turn around like that's never a good sign.
Now, who has? Let me go through the tokens. Who has night vision or dark vision, and who doesn't?
Eingar has dark vision.
Okay, so Eingar
Arabelle does.
Has sight, and you have, what is it, 60 feet? Of
Yeah,
dark
60
vision?
feet.
Yeah. And when does the dim light part of it start? Does it say?
They don't differentiate in 5e. It's just dark vision and then nothing.
Okay, so I'll just put a 1, I guess. Let's see. So do that. And Eingar does, so that's that one. 60. And I guess I'll do 1 for now. Save. Let me look at what that looks like. Control L. Oh, there we go. So let me bring our audience back over to our battle map. So we've opened the door. There we go. Okay. And as you open the door, you see the torches, and then the air comes blasting past all of you, blows your hair forward, snow and ice. It rips into and through this hallway of loose stone and whatever, and then all the torches go out.
Okay, that's a worse sign.
So now it's cold and dark.
Yeah, I can't see. We'll need torches.
So you light up a torch.
Or a light source. Who cast light?
I can use prestidigitation to just individually light the torches back up again from a distance. If we want to do that.
That
I
would
think that's worth a try.
So
So
just start using prestidigitation for
yeah,
that.
so you see the first one, and you concentrate on your cantrip. You see it fizzle, and then it goes out.
So this is definitely a magical effect at work then, it seems.
At this point, I will renew my divine sense, since I can do that multiple times during a day, and look down the corridor.
Yeah, you are picking up undead for sure.
I will say so.
I'm going to light a torch, and then I'm going to use telekinesis to put it out in front of Timor.
You're gonna put what out there?
Lit torch.
Lit
Use
torch.
my telekinesis to put it out here, so it just floats. It goes into flame, and then it just floats by everybody and is about 10 feet in front of Timor.
Yeah. So as it moves into the doorway and it passes Timor, it goes out. And the torch is just sitting there as an unlit torch with a little bit of smoldering smoke pulling up the minute it moves into the hallway.
I have not asked this yet, Dan, but I'm going to draw my sword. Does that thing shed light?
No, it does not. Now there's a little bit of light leaking in from the outside, which is why you can see that hallway, but it's basically dim light for you guys that don't have dark vision.
All right. Aaron Gear, what are you armed with?
Hammer and hand axe. Light hammer and hand axe.
All right. I'll strap my shield tight and take a step in. Then.
And I will follow.
All right, so the floor is definitely made of stones that have been set in. They look like river stone, and the walls seem to be carved out of borrow mud, stone and rock, branches and trees, and it's clear that this is a man-made mound or a I don't want to say man-made in not a natural, so it could be anything made, but it's definitely a mound that was built up by throwing sticks and rocks and stones on top of it and then dug out to become this barrow. You smell kind of like that deep loamy smell, that dark earth-like smell. And the wind continues to blow in from behind you a little bit unnaturally. And the temperature in here is actually quite a bit warmer than outside. Noticeably warmer.
Interesting structure. I personally would use stone.
All right. How far does the light from the door illuminate then?
I'm hoping you see what it shows you. Yeah.
I can see all the way down the corridor.
Yeah.
Is that maybe accurate?
Yep, that's fine.
Is that a crypt up there?
You're not sure what
Looks like
that
one.
is yet.
As we step in a little bit further, I'm going to try shutting the doors behind us.
Okay.
And see what happens.
They swing shut. Give me a second.
I think there's some round rooms to our left and right, guys.
As he shuts the doors, I'm going to try to relight my torch.
All right. So go ahead and do a dexterity check. And what you're doing is you're trying to fumble in absolute darkness with your flint and steel and your torch in your arm here, and you have no vision at all because it is pitch dark in here now once he shut the doors. Oh yeah. You're fumbling around, and you drop the torch, you drop the flint. Now you're scrambling on the floor trying to find it, and you're not even sure where you dropped it. It's pitch dark in here.
If I hear something
I'll
behind
go
me,
ahead and light my torch. Or my lantern, rather.
All right. So you can see. So you start to use your flint and steel, and again, the lantern starts to fizzle up, and then you get just a tiny bit of flame. Everybody can see for a split second, and then the flame goes out.
I'll turn
And
around
I'll
and help
open the
out
doors
Albie.
again. I just wanted to see if that would
Okay.
restrict what was blowing the flames out.
I'll turn around and see what Albie's doing. Sounds like he's having problems.
Yeah, now that the light is there, you can find your flint that you dropped on the ground, and you can see that he's fumbling with like a flint and steel in his torch. It seems like you can get him lit for just a second, and then it flames up for a second, and then it goes out.
Can I light one of the torches on the wall?
Seems to be the same thing. You get it for just a split second, and then as soon as there's flame, it disappears.
Seems we should probably open that door again, because I can't see a thing.
I already did.
Oh, I see it now. I was on the wrong screen.
I have nothing in my arsenal to work against this type of magic.
Same here, unfortunately.
Nor do I.
Erval,
can see in the dark,
you're a
but that
wizard.
doesn't
I
help.
know you are.
But I am still learning.
I can see in the dark, but that doesn't help you other guys.
Let's see
Right.
what's down there. Is there any evidence of writing or anything like that, or any decoration on these walls?
No, not that you've noticed where you're at.
Out of curiosity, can I use my background ability again and for a refresher? That
A refresher.
because I used it last week. I was just saying a refresher on that, just to see if I can identify potentially the race of whoever may have been buried here. Obviously, it's a burial ground, but just trying to see if I can learn anything more from the construction.
Nothing from the area that, like, nothing on the walls says anything about this tomb. It's like stone and dirt and sticks and old log, and it's obviously that they made the mound by just grabbing all of the stuff around and making a mound. It's not like a real hill that they dug into. They made the mound and then dug out the parts that they needed or wanted.
I am going to take a couple of steps off to the right here, just to see what there's over there.
Yeah. So yeah, as you can kind of see, it's basically a depression. I mean, it's kind of what it looks like on the map.
There's just a hole over there, guys. Kind of a bowl-shaped hole in the dirt.
Well, you're the only one who can see, so if you don't mind doing a little more scouting.
Yeah, I'll follow him around too.
I'll yell back behind me. There's some patterns over here on this floor.
So this is a flat stone that when you look at it from the hallway, it's probably about 3 feet tall. And it's only when you get closer that you notice there's etching on the top of it.
So it's almost as tall as I am.
Almost.
Yeah, I'll look at it and kind of describe that it's kind of a square shape with some more etchings inside of it on top of this 3 foot high.
Does it look anything like the druidic runes we had seen outside, or is it something else?
It does not match the ruins on the stones on the outside. It's something different.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the center hallway.
It does
And
match what you think used to be on the front door, though the front door ones have been defaced and demarked. These don't look like. These look like the regular symbols. Nobody's actually damaged these.
I'm gonna reach into a scroll case and pull out some parchment and some charcoal. Could you make a rubbing of it?
I will.
It's a bit large.
I'm gonna divine sense again and look down each hall and see if I can focus enough to pick out which way the undead actually.
Okay.
I will take the charcoal and paper and attempt to make a copy of what the etchings,
All right.
if not a rubbing.
Cool. So let's do that. Let's take our first, or probably our only break for tonight. Let's take our 10-minute break now. And we leave you with, so that you don't go away, as we see the paladin begin to center himself, close his eyes, and sense. He gets this impression that undead evil is getting closer. And as he opens his eyes, something approaches him down the hallway, coming right at him. And that is where we will come back, and we will be rolling initiative when we get back, and we will be deciding what in the world is approaching our paladin. So stay tuned. We will be right back as our adventurers explore this barrow. Stay tuned. And... right, we're back. We come back a little bit early because everybody's here and awesome. So everybody can go ahead and select your token, and then go ahead and roll your initiative. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to do this. Guess. Let me see here. All right, I think that's what I wanted. Okay. And then boy, my terrible rolling just continues. All right. Descending. 22 Alberix. That seems like hacks.
I'll take it.
That seems like a hack. Okay, so what ends up happening is I did roll a stealth roll for these creatures as they began to move. They heard you conversing. They heard you trying to light torches. They hear rock rubbing going on, and they've decided to make their attack. And they chose just that opportune moment as our Furbog closed his eyes, concentrated, and straight in front of him, he feels the undead approaching swiftly. So the first round is a surprise round. They rolled really high above your guys' passive perception. And so the first thing we see come around the corner, and let's go to token layer, token layer, token layer. Let me get all these things on the right layer here because that'll be much easier. Objects and tokens. Okay, so they get a round to react. And mostly it's going to be to move. They're going to dash. It's not going to get an attack, but it moves to there. Let's see, 15, 20, 25, 30. Can't quite get to you, so again, moves to its position. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Can't quite get to you, so we'll dash to go the full length. 25, 30. Can't get there, so moves into here. So 4 shambling creatures come out of the darkness into the dim light, and let's show the map to our audience here so they can see it. And out of the shadow comes these gray-skinned, 6-foot-ish creatures, and long claws, sharp teeth, moving lightning fast, and begin to surround our paladin as he is just kind of has been concentrating. And you feel evil all around you, paladin. Your divine sense. So they have done their surprise action. So we move into round number 2 where everybody gets to react. So their surprise only let them get to maneuver on you guys if they didn't get any attacks in. So we'll start at the top of the round where our druid, Alberix, will react suddenly to shapes all of a sudden being all around, coming out of the shadows around your paladin. What would Alberix like to do?
Crap his pants. So I am going to... Alberix closes his eyes for a second, and as they snap open, he starts to utter the words of power to summon his totem. And that will be... I'm going to put it in chat.
Alright, I'm going to go back up and see if I can find... When's the last time we've used our little totem emblem?
This is the kind of shamanistic magic I can get behind.
So, everybody, I'm going to choose. The Totem of the Bear. So, as a bonus action, I can magically summon an incorporeal spirit to a point that I see within 60 feet of me. The spirit creates an aura of 30-foot radius around it, and I can move it if I want, and it lasts for a minute.
So it creates an aura?
Yeah, but it puts a 30-foot radius around the point that I choose. And myself and my allies will benefit from the bear spirit. That means that we're going to get 8 temporary hit points, and we gain advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws while in the aura.
All right, so I put a totem out that you should be able to move, I believe. So you can place it where you would like it.
Right there. So a ghostly bear rises up out of the earth there and then flashes brightly before dimming, and only a faint outline can be seen. And there's a shimmer in the air as well.
Okay. So that's an action.
That's a bonus action.
Okay, so that's your bonus action.
And then my action is going to be to cast Thunder Wave.
The loudness continues.
So go ahead and draw your Thunder Wave. Because how are you not going to hit certain people?
Free-handed doesn't work. Hang on a second.
I'll get rid of that.
I'll get rid of that one for you.
There you go, like in that shape right there.
Okay, so those two.
Yeah.
DC 14 con. Okay, so the first one rolls a 14 on a con save. But what about that's the furthest one back. The closest one, con. Ooh, aced it.
Dang.
So I assume they take half damage, though.
They do.
So only, okay, so 6. All right. That, and, oh, I don't want to double click that. I want to do that. All right, and they resist the pushback. I'm getting a lot of feedback there.
So that's my turn.
All right. So let's do this a second. Okay. So yeah, we hear like the whole mound rumbles, dirt, rocks, and stone kind of cave in a little bit on everybody. You guys that are making the rubbing, all of a sudden you just smear charcoal over everything as there's this big thunderous crash on this enclosed space, and everybody's ears are ringing to the point that they can't hear anything but the ringing sound. So you like if people are talking, you can see their mouths moving, but you don't hear what they're saying as this reverberates throughout this barrow. All right, so that brings us to Timur. You were up.
All right. secure in the knowledge that he is doing the work of the lady, he will lash out at the nasty strain virus vampire to his left.
The guy to your left is Gith.
Sorry, my left.
Yeah.
Stage left.
All right. You have fought this before. You recognize it as a ghoul. These are not unknown of creatures to you. So a 22 strikes true. And, ooh, nice. 12 points of slashing damage. Look out. This one. Holy crap. That is a nice big wound on this creature. And it kind of has a hissing, scrawling noise it makes as your blade just tears through the skin of this thing. And it's kind of like an emaciated body. You do think of it like, if we go to like a pop culture reference, like the kind of almost like the vampiric like skin, the Nosferatu kind of style body creature is what it looks like. Very gray, very emaciated, but kind of spindly, and definitely grotesque. Actually, let's jump back 1 second too, because we need to make sure we do one thing here. No, I am wrong. Yeah, okay, no, we're good. Okay, and it is a huge wound that seems to sizzle and makes a noise even as your sword leaves it, and just kind of just tears into the body and the rib cage of this thing. It doesn't go down, but it's definitely a severe wound. Anything else for our paladin?
Nope. He's holding on to his reaction for a parry. And
All right, do you have sword and shield out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so that brings us to our first creature that gets to react, which is this one. All right, so that's this guy here. There's no reason not to move in. And he's going to try to rip through our paladin's armor. So let's go ahead and try that. So it's just going to be normal, no real advantage there. So let's try an 18. Is that a hit?
Not a hit, but it's really close.
Oh, okay. So you hear the claws scrape against your armor as it tries to dig into you. So it moved, it attacked. That is your turn. Iravel, you were up.
All right. Feeling bolstered from the bear spirit totem, I am not going to bother with Blade Song just yet. I am going to instead use my bonus action to cast Shadow Blade. And I will then move in to strike at the one in front of me with my Shadow Blade.
Okay. So that's a bonus action cast and then an action attack. Yep, okay. Yep, 26 would hit. Ooh, 14 psychic damage. Is that right? Psychic?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, psychic damage for the Shadow Blade.
Crazy.
You'd think it'd be necrotic, but it's psychic.
Yeah. All right. So another big gash opens up as your Shadow Blade bites into this creature deep. It hisses and growls and screeches at you as it recoils from the Shadow Blade. Anything else?
I will just step to the side to let my ally close the distance if he needs to.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted... There we go. How about that? Okay. And you move to the side. Gotcha. All right. That brings us to our next person. Oh, okay. So this is the one that just got hit by the paladin. He is up. He, recoiling from the strike to the paladin, also maneuvers and tries to get around the guard of the paladin, and then tries to reach out with claws. And rolls a 6, not even close. So that is its turn.
Did cut his hand off, so it makes sense.
Sure. The next creature is the one in the back, who is going to move past his own comrade and move. Yeah, he's going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. No, I can't quite make it. So let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. Oh, I could. So I could make it here as he pushes and jostles his way around the creatures that are attacking the paladin. And he's using that the paladin is fighting off both of these creatures, and these creatures are kind of surrounding him, to duck and move in and out of the paladin. You could use your reaction if you wish for an attack of opportunity as this guy gets close enough at one point for you to make a shot at him.
I will absolutely do that if he's going to pass out.
Okay. So you can use your react. Now you won't be able to parry.
I've only got the one. You don't have him on the initiative chart, but I've only got the one ghoul there at the bottom.
For a reaction?
The last guy who can attack me is the ghoul to the south of me, correct?
That guy or this other guy that just ran by? Yeah.
Yeah. So did the guy attack me as he's leaving?
No.
Because if he's leaving me, I'm gonna give him one to the back as
go ahead.
as he.
Yeah, he ducks out of the way, and he's kind of using. This creature looks different than the other ones, and he's using the you fighting the other ghouls around you, and he slips past as you're trying to keep them at bay to maneuver.
Cool.
All right, so it moves over and. Okay. Perfect. It is going to try to sink its. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to use its claws to try to rake across Iraville. So does a 20 hit?
It will, but I am going to go ahead and use my reaction to activate the Boon of Inti.
Okay.
So it'll give me a +5 to my AC, and it has to make a Wisdom saving throw or be blinded. I'm assuming it's the my spellcaster DC.
Yeah.
So that'd be a 14.
All right. Cool. So Wisdom saving throw. Let's see. Let's go there. Oh, got a natural 20. But yeah, your the claw does not rake against you. All right, so that is its turn. That brings us to Eingar. There's a whole battle erupting behind you. What would you like to do?
Eingar's gonna drop the not the chalk and the paper, or the and turn around and see this happening, and he's going to start rolling in like a little bowling ball. He's going to use a bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on this guy.
Cool. All right, we'll put a
He's
little
just
mark.
going to yell out, "I will mark you!" And take a swing at him with his hand axe.
All right. So as you do that, as you get within 5 feet, I need you also to give me a Constitution saving throw. Ooh,
Oof.
This is bad. All right. So we're going to put a little thing on you here that shows you are currently, as you get close to this thing, you start to cough and choke. And there is a cloud of stench that emanates from this thing that just turns your insides out. Like your breakfast and lunch just come pouring out. And you currently have the poison condition. At the end of each of your turns, you will be able to make another check to see if you can finally kind of shore yourself up. So let's see. Let's go to our rule set here. Poisoned. Let's go to conditions so we know what that's going to do to us. All right, conditions. So for poisoned, currently, what that does to you is a poisoned creature has disadvantage on attack roll and ability checks. So not saving throws, but ability checks. So if you do like a athletics check or those kinds of things, you have disadvantage currently. So I need you to roll. Did you roll 2 dice for your roll? You did. So you rolled a 24 and an 18. So the 18 still hits though. So your entire meal that you've had in the last few hours comes out, sprays down the front of your armor. You still manage to swing out with your weapon and strike. So you can go ahead and do damage with your hand axe.
And it gets damage for the 100 mark.
Yep. All right, so 14.
Hey, Ellie, I sent you a message. I didn't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. Thank you.
All right, so
I believe I get okay. I have Dwarven Resilience.
okay,
Here, I'll put that up in chat.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So you're let's see. So you get you have advantage on the saving throw. So that was nice. So the 17 actually would be okay then. Yep, 17 would make it. So
Nice.
we'll still say you kind of throw up and everything, but you still hit, so it didn't really change the combat any. And there
That
was no
works.
damage from it. So, all right, cool. That brings us to the last creature at the bottom of the round. He is on the token layer, right? Why is this guy hidden? I don't know. Won't worry about it. He is going to try to rake his claws here against our paladin. Let's see, everything's set to normal. And a 10 would miss. All right. So we go to the top of the round. So that was round number 2. We're on to round number 3, and we are back to Alberix. Alberix, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh,
Okay, so let's just move the icon to you. You currently are poisoned.
I don't have Dwarven Resilience.
Okay. So you can, at the end of your turn, your next turn, you can make this check again to see if you can will yourself to stop retching. But at the moment, you're just heaving, and like you're like again, anything that you had, your food and your water has already come out, but it's just like dry heaving, and you're trying to fight while dry heaving.
Ugh. So can I still cast a spell?
Sure.
All right.
Yep, it's just disadvantage on attacks and ability checks.
I'm going to cast Fairy Fire.
All right, cool.
And I would like to cast it on. Let me draw a box.
Okay.
It actually does a 20-foot cube, but that's what I would like to do.
Yeah. Okay, so the top 3 then, the group would have advantage to attack. Cool.
And they also radiate dim light and 10-foot radius on all of them.
Okay.
Hopefully I can see over there in the corner now.
5, 10. You would still see to can you see Eingar?
No, I can't.
Oh, I see. Well, we'll just put it on this guy then, I guess. Emits 10 foot. 10 foot. And the players see it, I think? Yeah, I think that's right.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right. Anything else from Alberix?
So as he, the shimmering glitter settles on them and they start to glow with that radiance, he then smashes the bottom of his quarterstaff on the ground, and crackling blue-white psychic energy lances up from the earth into the end of it to make a spear point. So I'm going to cast Shillelagh, but it's my psychic spear.
Cool. All right. And as a bonus action, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
And that's my turn.
All right, Timor, I need you to start with a Constitution saving throw. All right, you succeed. You hold your breakfast in thus far. It is your turn.
The one directly to the south of me has not been hit, correct?
He was hit initially.
Oh, Thunderwave.
He has
Well,
some damage.
I'm attacking him.
Okay. I'm going to move these boxes here. To the south. Yes, 12 is a hit. 8 slashing damage. So we see your sword arc out and cut deeply into the skin and muscle and sinew of this creature. Anything else for Timor?
Nope. Hold his reaction.
All right. Okay, so this one is up above, so he's going to try to claw Alberix. So let's see if we can do a claw. Ooh, a 22?
As he does that, Alberix is going to use his psychic telekinesis to create a shield around himself.
Okay,
I'm going to put that in the chat real quick.
sure. Is it just the shield spell?
It is.
Yeah, so it bumps your AC up, right?
By 4.
And that's enough to go over the 22?
Oh, dude, it was a 22? Yeah.
The shield
that
is
actually
5, by the way.
Oh, shield is 5? Well, if it's 5, then it makes it a 23.
Okay, so it's enough. All right, so yeah, we see it scrabble across the shield that you create. Okay.
The shield seems to come from the energy around the spears. It just creates a crackling globe around him for a few seconds.
All right, cool. That is his turn. That will move us to Irabel.
All right.
Did Irabel make a Constitution save yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so you need to make a Constitution saving throw. 16 is enough. You're able to withstand the stinking cloud that emanates from this creature just above you.
All right, I am going to lay into him, I guess.
All right. Yeah, 21 would hit.
13.
Oh, nice. Nice searing wound on this creature. Staggers from the shadow blade and the sizzling of flesh and again, bone and sinew. Doesn't quite go down, but definitely looks like he's hurting.
And I will go ahead and draw my dagger and attack with that as my offhand attack.
Okay. Did Fairy Fire say creature? Oh, it says any. Yep, any attack roll against an affected creature object has advantage. So it's any of the attacks. Okay. So it's a 13. Yeah, that's enough. For
Miserable
2
damage, but
piercing damage as you stick it into this creature. Not quite dead yet.
Every little bit.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to another ghoul. He's going to try to claw out at the paladin. See if we can claw. 12 will miss. He's not going to move, so that's going to be his turn. Yeah, that creature will try to attack Irevel again, I guess. Another claw attack. A 19.
a 19 would hit, but I will go ahead and spend a spell slot to cast Shield.
Okay.
And that will bump my...
Cool. And that brings us to Pelennor. Eingar is up.
Eingar raises his hand with his hand axe and swings at his body.
All right. Yeah, 21 would hit.
So there's damage for the hand axe, and then Hunter's Mark. And as he goes to take the hand axe out of him, he twists it, and using his new learned move, he uses Colossus Slayer.
Cool. Uh-oh.
You broke the game.
Tell us what it's supposed to do. Oh, there it is. So it does a 1d8 plus your strength. Nice. All right, yeah, so you can go ahead and describe how this guy dies.
I'm pulling my axe out of his chest cavity, and out comes the black, ruined, shrunken heart stuck to the axe head.
Nice. All right, yeah, and the body just collapses to the floor. All right, that brings us to our last creature, who is going to try to claw the paladin. Nope, 10 would miss. So, all right, so that brings us to the top of the round, round number 4. Alberix, you are up. You're still poisoned, but you have your full turn ahead of you.
And I can make a save at the end of the turn?
At the end of your
right?
turn, yeah.
As the shield around him dissipates, he starts moving his hands into arcane gestures once and ruins everybody's ears again. I'm going to cast Thunder Wave on the top 2.
Okay.
We talked about this spell.
So
I
that
know.
is Constitution. So one rolls a 15, and the other one rolls a 15.
So another 7 points of damage.
7. All right. All right. That's pretty good damage to 2 creatures that kind of wobble from the force wave of the thunder. And again, the roof starts to cave in on a little bit. Nobody can hear a thing anymore. Your eardrums are nearly bleeding at this point. Anything else from Elberix?
Nope, hold tight.
All right. Timor's up.
Longsword the attack, the one to the south.
Okay.
Probably not.
10 is a miss, so the longsword reaches out and he kind of bats your hand, and your sword hits into the dirt wall, missing the creature to the south. What's your action? Anything else?
That's it.
All right. This guy is... Yep, that one's still alive, so he's going to try to claw Alberex. Let's see. Yeah, claw. 18.
That's it.
All right. 4 slashing damage, and you need to make a Constitution saving throw. All right.
Phew.
So you feel the
Good one.
effects of your muscles start to tighten, but then you're able to kind of shake it off and continue fighting. Now make another Constitution saving throw, and this will be if you can finally clear your head of the poison. Ooh, no, it continues. Okay.
There's too many of them around me.
All right. So that'll stay on. That is its turn. It is done. Iravel's turn.
All right, I'm going to see if I can finish off this one that I started on before.
Okay. It's a hit because you have advantage, right?
Yep.
You're attacking the top one, so yeah, hit.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice damage.
Yeah. You could describe how that one dies.
I'm just going to, from bottom to top, just right through the middle, slice it in half.
Cool. Its body drops onto the floor. Anything else?
As it's basically falling to the 2 halves, I'm just going to step right through the space that it was in, walk around behind this other guy, and make my bonus action attack.
Okay. Yeah, that would hit. Ah, nice. Go ahead and describe how that one dies.
Everybody else, that if they happen to be facing that one, they just see the point of the dagger suddenly poking through its forehead and then back out again as it falls to the ground.
All right, cool. Anything else?
That is it for my turn.
All right. That brings us to... Nope, that one died, so we'll pull it off. That died, we'll pull it off. That brings us to... Inger, you were up.
Eingar's going to step over and on top of and around these dead guys to get over beside Timor and take a swing with the hand axe at the one in front of him.
All right. An 8 would miss. So it's kind of like you guys are all bunched up and you're kind of in each other's way, trying to attack this last one to the south.
I'm going to use my bonus action to swing with the hammer.
Okay. Ooh, 9 does not hit either.
That didn't work either.
Okay. So that is our last... Yeah, so this... Okay, so our bottom of the round, we've got our last ghoul. Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and try to slice through our paladin there. Critical.
24 hits.
So 12 slashing damage. And then a Constitution saving throw, please. As we see the claw rip through his armor. Yeah, so you feel your muscles begin to seize, but you're able to shake it off. And though they feel like they're moving a little slow, you resist its temptation from the burning sensation from where it's slashed you. That is its turn. Brings us to the top of the round. Alberix is up.
Even with the great difficulty of being poisoned, I'm going to try to jab this thing in the face.
So this should be disadvantage. So an 8 will miss.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope, that's my turn.
All right, so con save to see if you can resist the effects of the poison. No, this is really affecting you. All right, that brings us to Timor, who's just been laid open by this creature to the south of you.
It's a shallow wound. Let's not
Okay.
exaggerate.
It's
But he's
infected.
angry, and he's gonna cut that. It's infected. Yeah. Give me the Bactine. I'm cutting that.
You'll be a zombie in 2 days, so.
Cannot hit.
Oh, the 9 misses. The super ghoul to the south here all of a sudden. All right, that's your action.
Oh, nah, it's not a big deal. He'll hold his reaction for.
Okay. Next up would be, oh, that's a dead ghoul. Let's take him out of the turn order. That brings us to Iravel. Unfortunately, your group mates here are kind of blocking you from this guy.
Well, I can throw my Shadow Blade, so I will attempt to do that.
This does not make Timor nervous at all.
It does have a 20-60 range, so I should be able to hit it without disadvantage from where I am.
Sure. Nope, 17 would hit. All right. Oh, yeah, just enough. Right at the end of it. Go ahead and describe how that one dies.
You just see me kind of, because everybody's standing in the way right there, you just see me kind of just do like a wall kick to get a little bit of a height advantage, and I just javelin throw the Shadow Spear just straight through its body and lance it to the ground.
Nice.
Good one.
Awesome.
All right. Now, none of you can actually hear anything, as your ears are still ringing, but you don't see anything moving.
Got 2 more uses of my divine sense, and I will open it up one.
You're not sensing anything.
Right, that's the last of the undead.
Take a look at these creatures. Does it appear that they were human? I'm going to kind of examine them and see if there's any goodies on them as well.
No, you're not sure what they were before this. It's clear that they are things that you guys recognize as ghouls and aghast. And they don't wear stuff or use stuff.
I figured. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't like a jeweled dagger stuck in one of them.
You're saying we've fought these before?
More than likely, yeah, some of you have fought things like this. Not necessarily like within the last 4 months, but...
Would we know if they're treasure hoarders? Just out of curiosity. I mean, would we know enough to look around for a pile of loot somewhere else? Do they collect, or are they just undead?
Yeah, you would have found them all in many places. Could have been crypts, could have been tombs, could have been graveyards, could anywhere you would find undead.
There's probably a treasure pile around somewhere.
Battle of Lugosi's dead.
Keep my eyes
I'm
up.
trying to light my torch again. May I try that?
Sure.
Sorry, Bruce.
Yeah, so you strike it again. The flame starts up, and then the flame goes out. So you get like a brief flame, and then it's gone again.
Shall we
I'm
go
gonna go
forward?
ahead and pop a spell slot and cast Detect Magic without having to do the 10-minute wait, and just do a quick walk around the front chamber and the 2 side chambers.
Okay.
Can I be unpoisoned now?
If you make a Constitution saving throw, sure. Can you make one?
I'd really like to.
Yes. All you had to do is get above a 10.
Ridiculous.
All right. So you see Iravel walking around, and at the very front, you don't see anything. And the 2 side magic radiates the whole place. I mean, it just lights up full on everything, everywhere you look. And it's some type of enchantment. Or enchantment.
And
spell.
anything,
School.
is it all just one uniform enchantment, or there's like different enchantments for different areas?
It's like one big. It's just everything. Everywhere you look is it just radiates an enchantment spell.
We probably shouldn't mess with that magic. It's probably the only thing keeping the roof over our head right now after those 2 gigantic blasts.
You're talking, but nobody can hear you.
Huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Then we all
"What?"
start shouting loud enough that
Yeah.
the whole thing collapses anyway.
And you're dead, all under the barrow.
What a fitting place to die.
Well, I can't do anything about breaking that spell, but I can walk down the hallway.
Let's go.
Oh, and the totem goes away after a minute, right?
It does.
All right, so get that off the map. And no more poison.
Do we still have the temporary hit points?
I think it only lasts for the duration of the spell. So I think it's a minute. I think.
I'm going to check on that real
Doesn't
quick.
mention anything about it.
It doesn't say that the hit points go away, so I'm going to double check that.
Line went away.
The hard way.
So are these crypts around here?
They appear to be openings, yeah, and there appears to be bodies.
I can only
this-
see this one directly south of us. So we're counting on your eyes.
So around this round room, there are 14 openings, and it appears that they open into an area where each one has or they could have a body within them, laying within them.
Until a long rest.
Just
Nice.
doing a quick scan through, from what I can see, does it seem like the number of the little side rooms there that don't have bodies match the number of creatures we fought?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It does not.
We should be on our guard then. It seems there may still be more, or perhaps one has left the premises already.
I'm gonna poke my head in each one of the openings, and if there's a body laying in there, I'm gonna and move on to the next one.
You can do what?
See if they move.
Oh, poke it?
I'm gonna poke the yeah.
All right. So yeah, you start poking what appear to be corpses.
if it doesn't get up, I'm going to go to the next opening.
Yeah, you do it over and over and over. None of them seem to get up.
All these seem to be dead, guys.
Are they just like loose corpses on the ground? Are they mummified? Any kind of burial trappings?
No, they look like they've been put there, like a ritual burial.
So the ghasts and the ghouls may have broken into the crypt and were living here.
I'd like to look at this thing in front of me.
Yeah, it appears to be a big carved stone. It looks like it's the top of it is a effigy of some sort. Looks like it had some type of. It was a lid, but it almost looks like there's a mortar set in it, as if it's been set with mortar.
Can I do a history check on the origin of the stone using my stone cunning?
Sure, it looks fairly newish. Doesn't seem very old.
Newer than the crypts around us?
You're not sure because the stone that's made of the crypt is just more like loose river stone. This wasn't a stone mountain that they dug into. This is a man-made just dirt piled up and loose stone, loose rocks, loose whatever. So it's not like the structure itself is very almost mud and adobe and clay and dirt and rocks. It's not like carved stone. The only thing that's like carved stone in here is the big thing you were doing the rubbing on was a large stone that had been carved on the top of it. And then this thing is a clearly made stone effigy.
Well, this seems to be fairly new.
This is clearly the grave of a warrior. He hasn't been disturbed. I see no reason to further damage this ground.
But is there writing on this thing?
On the part that faces the door, yeah, there's a name.
What's the name?
It says Vincent.
Vincent. I say the name aloud. Can you read the rest of it, Aravel?
There's no other
I can't
words.
see in this.
It's just the one name carved in.
Part of me wonders if we should open it, if the forces of darkness here wanted this person forgotten, then anything that we can learn about them could be very useful.
It's an excellent point.
Seems
Very
legit.
true.
I'm going to stand back because I am not strong.
If we are going to open this, I will help.
And for the record, we've not heard this name in town at all, ever.
Yeah, there was a rumor about the Vincent's minions or something like that, wasn't there, Lucian?
There is a group of adventurers that you know of that go by the name of the Sons of Vincent.
That's right.
They were, in fact, the ones that reported about the building out here.
The plot thickens. It's crazy. That's got to be.
Perhaps the building was a lie, and they wanted us to come out here.
Could this be a trap?
Or they needed someone stronger to clear out the ghouls, etc.
Before we do this, perhaps we should open or look into the other rooms more thoroughly.
We didn't
I did
look
want
in
to.
There's a hole in the ground, right?
It is
in
a
one of those rooms?
pit. It doesn't. It goes down probably about 10 feet when he looked at it, and it is a pit of some sort, but there was nothing in it. And then there's the carved stone in the other room.
I did also want to, just a couple, I'm not going to go around to all of them, but investigate some of the bodies in the alcoves and see if I can identify what race they were and see if they have anything on them that might further identify who they were.
There is going to be some various treasure of stuff intermixed in some of the different little alcoves. I'm going to have you guys roll for that at the end, but so you'll find some stuff in there. The corpses themselves are all human.
Peculiar that they'd all be of one race. It's a little unusual.
The effigy is also of, again, a warrior in kind of like a plate mail, but also clearly human.
Were the sons of Vincent all human?
Yes.
Wait a second. The effigies, or the name is up above where the Gith is standing. The name, or is
No,
it
it's
actually
on
on the tomb?
It's on the tomb, right where you are, on the front-facing part there.
I do want to do a rubbing of that. I want to try to take out some charcoal and stuff and do a rubbing of the Vincent on there. It's intriguing. Are there any symbols or anything else on there besides the image of a man in plate mail?
Nope, just seems to be the effigy picture you see on the top, and then just the name. There's no other marks on the tomb.
I would like to go back to the other round room where I was copying the inscriptions and finish that up and come back before we open this, just in case we have to leave in a hurry.
Okay. So you'll kind of be
Extra.
off doing that while they're in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I can barely see in this room. I mean, all I've got is the tomb, so I'm not going in.
Yep. Alberic sits down and leans against the wall and just tries to piece all this together, because this seems so very different than what's outside with the evil druid magic.
Yeah, admittedly, I would have thought whoever was buried here would have been a druid themselves, but this certainly does not have the appearance of someone who was a druid.
No.
And why would they block this tomb? Why would they desecrate what is clearly a hero's resting space?
That may
Aye.
be exactly why.
While you guys are doing a little bit of that, Iravel, give me a D100 roll while you guys continue doing what you're doing. Okay.
Probably after about 10 minutes, Eingar would get done with what he was doing, I guess, and come back.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't take you too long. I mean, it's huge. I don't know if you necessarily would have enough paper or to do that entire thing. I mean, it's at least.
I was going to try and sketch it, not rub it, if my paper wasn't big enough. I was going to try and sketch it in a smaller scale.
25 feet by 25 feet for sure. But yeah, you could try to do a brief approximation of it without actually trying to do the whole thing. And it would only take you, yeah, like you said, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. All right.
When the dwarf comes back to help him move the lid, I'm going to stand back up and shield at the ready.
Okay, so who's moving the lid?
Eingar.
Timor.
Okay.
I'll attempt to assist, even though I have very poor strength, but I once wrestled a goddamn dragon to the ground, so I have an overinflated sense of my strength.
All right. So what are you guys doing to the lid? Walk me through what's happening here.
Should we just try to move it
It seemed
sideways?
as though it was sealed, correct? Well, I'll be trying to swing my pickaxe at it to try to crack the mortar.
Right. And for the record, we're doing this because something in here might be something that whatever is outside, the evil outside. I want to justify this for my paladin, right? And that's why we're doing it. That's why we're opening it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Despite being a wizard, Iroville has respect for the dead, so he would not be doing this if he did not believe there was good
I feel
to
like
be found
Albrecht
inside.
was deceivingly needs to roll a deception check there. I think that sounded. That's good. So it's you can swing your pickaxe, but that's going to be pretty tough to break the seal on it. There's mortar around the whole thing.
Does anybody have pitons? We can use those to.
So like you're smashing into. One time you hit where the seal is, another time you hit the lid, another time you hit the side of it. I mean, you're just making a whole crazy amount of noise, and it's not doing a ton of damage. It's doing it's putting some marks on this stone, but it's not. You're going to be here a while doing that.
I can cast Detect Evil and Good. I'm going to drop that spell while we're working, and see if I can feel anything through the stone. It's probably not a foot worth of stone sarcophagus.
It is not a foot of stone. You don't detect evil or good. Do you have to decide which, or is it just all?
Well, if it was, that's a good question, but I'll cycle through it if I've got up to 10 minutes.
There's no aberration, no celestial, no elemental, no fey, no fiend, and there's no undead within 30 feet of that.
I let everybody know. I think there's nothing in there that's dangerous to us at all.
Can the dwarf use his hammer to work the edges of that?
I don't know, dwarf, can you?
Well, does anybody have pitons or something like that? I can use those to chip away at or if not, I'll use my hand axe, put the edge of it up against the seal, and then hit that with with my hammer.
You can. You realize you're going to ruin your hand axe.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Unless somebody's got something else to use.
I was thinking if I could investigate the mortar to see if it looked like there were spots where it were weaker, I could use magic missile to just try and blast it with force.
No, it looks super uniform and super well done. It doesn't even look that old.
Let's get them started.
Have at.
So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
All right, so it takes you a little while, but you're smashing through it. Definitely by the end of all of this, your axe is ruined. Like, you're going to have to buy a new axe. The pickaxe will damage it, but it's going to damage the whole thing at the same time. But you guys just kind of crack through this whole thing and smash through the mortar part, and it puts cracks in the side of it. It puts cracks in the top of it. And then you finally make your way around that you think you have the top of it can be moved. And then it'll take a strength check to try to... It's a lot of stone. It's not just, 20 pounds. Group strength check? Or somebody gonna try to manhandle it?
I'll try to move it. Ooh, me and the dwarf. You're strong.
Whose was the 17?
That's mine.
Oh, why is your name not there? That's weird.
Because he had the spell before it.
The Gith is barely strong enough to hold his body upright, so He's not even gonna do it.
Come on, I want to see the negatives.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Iroville continues to have no reason to doubt his strength.
Yeah, he's definitely like performing above his natural. 10's pretty good. So yeah, all of you lift it up, and it's definitely several. It's probably somewhere around 400 or 500 pounds of stone. I mean, it's got to be about this thick of a lid. You kind of lift it up, so you guys have it up. You're straining, you're shaking. What do you do?
We don't have to lift it up like a deadlift. We can just slide it off to the side, can't we?
I don't.
We could deadlift it and carry it out of here.
If you're
Let's
making
just
me
slide
tell
it off
you,
to the side.
no, it
We'll
didn't
just slide it off to the
slide.
It's a
side.
piece of
Yeah.
art. Let's carry it home.
It's got a
There's
lip.
a door.
It's got a lip on the inside of it.
Just pick it up so the lip is off, and then we'll set it back down on a little bit of an angle and slide it over to the side so we can see what's in it.
All right. So you move it over, and then you push it. It teeters and falls off. It's empty.
Check the bottom.
Yeah.
Feel down in there. Look for cracks.
You feel stone at the bottom. Smooth stone.
Well, you can't very well start a cult following called the Sons of Vincent if the Vincent isn't around to start the cult following. So clearly, he's faked his own death.
Sounds like a devil worshiper to me. On the effigy, is there a face on it?
Sure.
Can I do a rubbing of that?
You do it. When you look at the results, you're not sure if you show it to somebody if they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's my brother. I recognize it," because it doesn't.
Right.
There's an impression there, but you're not sure if somebody would recognize it or not. Maybe they would.
Maybe they would. I'll do it anyways. You know, and kind of try to commit to memory what, it's a plate mailed warrior human, right?
Yeah.
This is all very peculiar.
I've got a pen and ink and parchment. I'll attempt to do a sketch of it as well. Try to get some of the detail that maybe a rubbing wouldn't get.
Okay, so do a... what would that be?
Calligraphy.
Yeah. Skill-wise, I'm guessing something like maybe performance. Yeah, because that'd be like drawing. That'd be like sketching. That'd be like an art. Maybe a performance check.
Could I argue that it would be performance dex and not performance charisma?
Yeah. I think that'd be fine. Do you have proficiency in it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, you have proficiency in performance charisma, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be a +5 instead of a +2 if it's going to be dex. So it'd be 22.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good sketch of it.
There's no false bottom or anything in there when
You reach your hand in?
I'll reach in there. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I mean, you feel the bottom and it just feels like cold stone.
I'd like to check the bottom on the outside, see if there's any cracks or anything that might show that this can be moved and something be under there.
It definitely doesn't look like it's sealed to the floor. The floor is definitely different than this thing is. It looks like it's setting on top of it. The floor is made of like river stone and dirt.
Do you suspect a gap in the bottom that we can?
There's probably no
Move the
cracks.
sarcophagus?
You don't see any gaps or...
We've got rope. We can we rope the whole thing up and see if we can just shift it a little bit off the base? I mean, I'm assuming you're looking for an opening underneath the.
Yeah,
If there's
looking
nothing.
for something like that. Maybe instead of a false bottom, it's just this is covering up something.
I'm going to turn into a big, strong horse and see if I can help to pull that. If that's what we decide we're going to do.
I'm set for trying.
Yeah, and I can move one size larger than me, so we should be able to yank something pretty heavy. I mean, I can carry that lid back if we want to, because I can carry like 900 pounds.
Oh my God, you'd be so
Not for a
tired.
6-day travel, you couldn't.
I am not just a normal man. I'm a furball.
Through the snow. I'm telling you, you're not going to make it.
half our shelter every night.
Yeah.
Zalbirix's hearing is, I imagine, starting to return at some point.
Barely.
Are we able to? Perhaps this is just as it appears. Maybe it is just an empty tomb.
I mean, you guys rig up something to try to move it? I mean, it's probably, I'm guessing a big stone sarcophagus thing like this must be 1,000 pounds. I mean, it's got to be heavy.
Well, that's Timur's suggestion, but again, that's the only thing he can see in the room. So if there's something else that's interesting that we should be looking for,
it does seem suspicious that there would be all this ceremony of this chamber and then an empty grave in the middle. There's something off here. I think it's worth investigating.
The whole thing is off.
Let's try moving.
So with that, Albirix bends over violently, and his skin becomes incredibly tight as hair starts to push its way through the pores, and his bones are stretching and grinding, and he turns into a draft horse.
For a second there, I thought you were going to be a werewolf and we were going to kill you.
That's next level.
So you guys spend some time rigging up something that's going to let the horse pull a stone coffin thing. And you're able to move it, I don't know, 10, 15 feet or however far you want. It just drags across the floor.
And we're just looking for something suspicious.
Everything's suspicious.
Out of the place. Well, if we look for something that's absolutely normal, and that will be what we're. Cool.
There's nothing.
Anything
normal
under there?
No.
I'm gonna start digging through these 14 crypts, and see if I can find any openings, suspicious cracks that might show us a secret door, anything like that.
Okay.
I have a crazy idea. Since we've moved this sarcophagus out of the way, looking at the river stones where it wasn't compared to where it was, does it seem like there's much more wear and tear where there wasn't? Like it was placed here recently, or has it been here a long time? I'm trying to gauge the sarcophagus.
I mean, there's drag marks now on the tops of the stones. I don't think there would be anything that would stand out and say nothing on the stone floor. I mean, there's nothing that makes it look any different than the rest of it. It all looks pretty similar. I mean, you guys are going to find like various coins, and there's some carved objects that if you were to sell them have a gold value to them, and you find those interspersed between all of the different ones. Just no real pattern, more just like randomly, various things. And we'll at the very end here we'll roll through all that stuff. So you do find stuff in each of these little alcoves. You'd spend probably about an hour or two, and you don't find any secret doors or anything in each one of these. I mean, it takes a while to go through all of those. So you guys are definitely here.
How about looking up at the ceiling? Anything up?
It's mostly dirt and roots. And on the outside, you could see that the barrow itself probably only went up about 20-ish feet. I mean, it wasn't super tall.
Let's go check in that pit.
Yeah, that's the one other thing I was curious about.
I'll stay in the
Looking that-
light from the door.
All right. I'm going to go in that pit room and see if I can find anything.
Don't forget, we can't see, so we're not going in.
Got it.
Yeah, you see exactly what you see on the map.
You said it was 10 foot deep?
Yeah.
Do ghouls and ghast bury their treasure? Again, do they even care about
Pirates?
treasure?
Pirates?
Maybe they were pirates before they were ghouls.
Undead
Who knows?
pirates, no kidding. It happens. I've seen the
All pirates become undead, right?
parlay.
The Black
Looking at
Pearl.
this pit, is there any indication of what might have been in it at some point? Any traces left behind?
Seems like just dirt. Like shale stone.
Scratches on the edges.
No. And it's actually not like steep. It's like you could walk down into it. It's just like an incline that's maybe a 45. It's not like impassable or anything.
I'll go down in it.
Yeah, you're at the bottom of it.
Look around.
Yeah, just like a
Anything
45-degree
unusual?
angle of back up and out.
Is there a flat bottom?
Yeah, it's flat at the bottom.
There's no ranger magic you got to look for tracks or beds.
Go on,
Whatever.
use your ranger magic.
Yeah, Hunter's Mark.
I've
is
used
his
all my ranger magic.
Yeah.
Could I reasonably come to the conclusion that this may have just been where they dug out the river stone that they used to line the floor?
No, it definitely does not look like that. In fact, that stone is more like probably stone that existed here. And the river stone was obviously brought from somewhere and then used to line the floor. But I mean, well, that's a common construction material to use those types of stones. Because they can be flat and you can fill it in with dirt and it makes a nice flooring. It wouldn't be something that'd be uncommon.
I am going to go back over to the other room over here with the big and just look around the edges of it. See what I can find. Cracks underneath, anything like.
I mean, it looks like a natural stone. It looks like it might have been a bigger stone at one point, but the top has been worked, so it's definitely just the top. But like the sides of it haven't been. That looks natural. So it's almost like this was some type of stone outcropping that was then some type of stonework was done on the top. The rest of it looks natural.
I'm out of ideas, guys.
I'm all for knocking some big stones down outside.
Albirix has been sitting here thinking about those standing stones that are out there. There's some sort of knowledge that he might have as to whether or not that's going to be a good or bad idea. Like, could it have been a holy place prior to being desecrated in such a way? And is there anything that he could do to consecrate it again?
I don't know. Is there anything you can do?
I'm going to go out there. While they're inside there, I'm going to go out there to that area. And Albirix is going to stand amidst all of them and look around and close his eyes and kind of project himself out a little bit and try to figure out what he could do.
Yeah, so while you're inside the stones there, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
One second.
Yeah, just you just feel super nauseous.
I'm going to take out some mistletoe and a couple other vestments of the druidic magic and put them on that altar and start saying prayers to heal the land.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're not feeling a difference. You're not getting any indication that anything's happening. You're not sure. You just have a very uneasy feeling while you're doing it.
Continue to do it, and once I finish, he has a scimitar, and I'm going to use that to scrape away the bloody snow and everything from that table. Clear it off.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a big flat stone that's been set here. It looks like it's on another stone that's below it. It's fairly flat, and you're able to clear it off.
Is there any writing on this?
Nope, no markings at all.
Then I'm going to pull out those same things again and just repeat what I had done, not really knowing what else to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's no indication that it's working, it's not working. There's just not any. You're not getting anything while you're doing it. I would say your connection to the lands, which you've been really struggling with anyways, as this hasn't been your land. Though you feel like you're starting to get used to the area, here you don't feel a connection to anything. I mean, it's just you just feel nauseous in where you're at.
Timur, do you have any of the waters from your lady's lake?
You know what? I would assume I do, but I don't have it on my sheet, so I'm gonna. I do have the sword, which she gave me.
That is true.
Come here and say words of peace to your lady with your sword here. Let us work together and see if we can make a difference.
I'll touch the tip of the sword to the altar, see if it reacts.
No reaction. No reaction from the sword, no reaction from the stone itself. And I would say that, Timur, you don't feel anything any different anywhere you were. Now that the evil is gone, the undead presence that you had felt, that presence has begun to dissipate except for the bodies that were, it's like a slow dissipation of the evil there. But
So I'm not uncomfortable in the stone circle.
no, it doesn't seem to affect you that way.
This house has been cleansed.
The only time it affected anybody was when they looked at the writing, or Alberix is affected by it.
It feels fine to me.
Back inside this room with the pit, is this something on the ground, or is this just part of the map?
Nope. Yeah, it's just nothing.
Okay, just wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, part of the map. I don't even think it's dirt, maybe.
Is that Is it an actual altar, or you said it was a stone on a stone?
It's a
Is there
flat
anything-
stone, and there's a stone underneath it.
So it's not something that could be a container underneath the altar.
It looks like two stones. One's a
random
smaller
thing.
stone, and then a
right.
big flat stone on top of it.
I'm going to pass out of the circle once more. Does the feeling change?
Yeah, you don't feel nauseous anymore. And it slowly goes away. It's not like a light switch.
Standing next to this stone, I'm going to put my hand on it and actually say out loud, "Tell me your secrets."
Yeah, nothing seems to happen.
What was the other life
Frustrating.
form? You said you felt an elemental?
Yes.
Could that have been what was blowing out the torches in there? Can you sit down and do that again and see if you can get a better fix?
I'm out of spells now. I'd have to take a rest
Okay.
to be able to do that again.
Perhaps disrupting the circle is the best thing to do. This place is not good.
If it was a former druidic holy place, I mean, maybe you could fix the runes on the stones at some point, or reconsecrate.
That knowledge is beyond me. Can I make a druid check or something?
To create a sacred place, you probably have to be a pretty high level druid.
I figured, but I'm just even to have an idea of what. That's basically what I know. Is it's just beyond.
Yeah,
me.
it's big magic to create a grove or a standing stone or a circle of stones like a Stonehenge or a henge or anything like that. Probably.
That's not what this is.
Oh, it definitely looks like it's what it is.
So, I mean, I'm not making one, but what about cleansing one?
You're talking about big magic.
Yeah, that's undoing this magic and all sorts of crap beyond me. Do what you will, Timor. I'm at a loss.
I'm actually feeling pretty good about the whole thing. They don't. That evil sense must have been the undead.
It
and
is
not the actual.
This. I still feel it in my bones when I stand in that circle. This is a bad place.
Can I knock a stone down?
What do you try to do?
Can I push a stone over to see if it disrupts the circle?
Make a strength check. Doesn't budge.
While all this is going on, I'm going to move into the center of that pit. I'm just going to sit down in the dark, and I'm going to try to commune with the Raven Queen and see if I can get any portends as to, because she deals with the dead and passing of souls. If she has any insight, she might grant me as to what can be done with this place.
Okay.
So it'll just be, well, all that's going on outside, that's just what I'd be doing at the time.
What time of day is it currently?
Probably an hour or two before sunset.
I have no want to sleep near here.
Agreed. We found the location that we were looking for, I guess. Do we head back?
We shouldn't leave without Arabelle.
Well, of course. Alberic seems, despite us having found this place and killed the undead, Alberic certainly seems a bit defeated. This is upsetting to him.
came here and slew evil. I don't consider it a loss. We've done the world a service.
And yet this blight still stands.
We found some interesting stonework.
Consider this a task for your future when you are strong.
Well, I will be back here. That's for certain.
All right.
Someone should go and fetch the elf so that we might be away from here.
I'll go get him.
He's communing with the dark.
He's in there listening to Marilyn Manson by himself in the dark.
Where'd he go?
Did he disappear?
I don't see him.
Interesting.
Guys, I couldn't find him.
What?
I couldn't find him.
I'll march into there, but I'm going to just agree with you.
He's not over here. I'll look in all the...
Yep. No, you look all around, and you do not see Iravel anywhere in the barrow.
And I know he didn't come out.
Footsteps?
Nobody saw him come out.
I'll climb down in the pit.
Looks to be the same.
I can't see
Iravel. You didn't turn invisible, did you?
You hear no answer.
you. Use that sneaky ranger magic.
If he only had spell slots. Although,
Yeah.
Is Primeval a spell slot? It might not be. It might just be an ability.
It does take a spell
Oh,
slot.
Okay. Yeah, you search, you call out, you hear nothing from Iravel.
Tamora, this is troubling. I don't want to leave him here or wherever he is, but I don't think it's a good idea for us to stay here.
All right. One more time, I'm going to use my divine sense and feel around.
No aberration, no undead, no celestial. What's the other one?
Fiend,
No fiend, no fae.
goth elf.
No goth elf. So, knowing a group who typically wouldn't leave a friend behind, even if you make camp, you stay, and Eingar checks the tomb over the next hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. You sleep the night. You check the area for tracks. You don't find anything except your own tracks. And a full day goes by, and Iravel does not seem to appear.
If I get a long rest, I will do primeval awareness inside the tomb.
Yeah, you don't pick up anything within a mile of you. I mean, just nothing pops up.
Hmm.
And you guys can stay for, as long as you think you would like to, but Iravel does not seem to come back for however long you guys decide to stay. How long do you stay? You guys got to tell me that.
It'd be a day or so, I would think.
I only had 15 days ration, so if it's a 9-day trip plus an extra day, that's 10 in hard country. So
As much as I'd hate to leave him, we may have to go back and get more rations or something. Or better help.
aye. The lanky Gith's shoulders seem slouched.
All right.
He's-
So our final scene will be of our Shatterkai Blade Singer seems to be standing in an endless gray and black forest where there is no color anywhere. You are no longer where you were, and it's deathly quiet. But you probably recognize it, I assume, though I guess I'd have to read your background. Do you recognize the Shadowfell?
I definitely would. I grew up there.
Yeah, so you are in the Shadowfell. And that's where that session will end. More than likely what I'll do is I'm going to have a separate session with Iravel at some point to figure out what the heck has just happened to him. You guys stay for as long as you can, for as long as you're willing to stay before you call it, and then you head back. I do want to do some rolls for the treasure that you found, which we'll just say you guys have, even if we'll just say you guys have it, even though Iravel's gone for now. So I need a couple of rolls from people just for fun. So I need 6d6 from Alberix.
This is the best part of Storm King's Thunder. Opening the giant bags up.
20. All right.
Getting 6 wheels of cheese.
You were able to get 2,000 copper pieces, various copper pieces throughout each of the different tunes. They were just scattered all over randomly. So you can write down 2,000 copper pieces. 3d6 roll from, let's go with Timor. 10. So you got various, and you had to pick them all up. They were kind of loose or they were near the bodies. You find 1,000 silver pieces. And then Eingar, go ahead and give me a 2d6 roll. An 8. So you were able to find 80 gold pieces, various gold pieces. The coinage is all ancient coinage. Very old, not newish. Doesn't match like the Sword Coast coinage. Matches more of the type of coins and stuff you found in this land before. We got a roll of 19 already from Iravel. So that gave us, I need a 2d4 roll from Iravel real quick. A 4. So you were able to find 4 carved stone objects. These are basically like art pieces or things that you could sell to a collector or somebody that collects ancient objects. Not magical, not anything like that. Each one of them would be worth 25 gold, roughly, if you take them back and sell them. And that's what you find in this tomb. It seems to be probably, I mean, it matches stuff that would have been buried with people in a tomb. And that's where we'll end tonight's session with a missing party member, our expedition leader, in fact, and 3 of our companions trudging their way home through the snow with heavy hearts as apparently they're going back and telling everybody that we've lost Iravel at some point. So we'll see how that goes. You guys could probably... the rumor on the way back. Which you guys got. So on the way back, off in the distance to the west, Alberix, you see what appears to be a building. And when you see it, that feels more like the description of the place you were looking for, more than what you stumbled on here. it seems to match, and it verifies. You kind of place it in a better spot, and you're thinking about where it was carved on the table, and you know that where it was carved on the table was off a little bit, but now you have a better idea of where you think it is, and so you'll be able to correct the positioning of it on the table.
I will definitely share that when I get back, along with all of
right.
our other news.
So, XP wise, each person gets 315 XP points. And then Alberix and Timor get an extra 25 for passing their checks in the beginning.
I am 4th level. Woohoo!
Oh, look out.
Ditto.
Sweet. All right, and I think that's where we will end our session. Azer, I will probably have to figure out what your schedule is, because maybe we'll have to do a one-on-one session and play out what's going to happen. So
Okay.
I'll probably send you like a Discord and try to figure out what the heck I'm doing this weekend and when I have time to do stuff, which could be tricky, but we'll see. Or maybe you miss next week's expeditions to do a one-off.
Either way.
All right.
Should be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, all right. So that's it for tonight's session. And go ahead and stop by on Sunday, where we're going to play our final session, our final one-shot session of Part-Time Gods that we have with several of our players. And that is a new game that we've been playing where they get a divine spark, and we kind of figure out what that means. And we're going to play through that new system on Sunday. And then the week after that, we're going to be picking a new game, making new characters, and learning that whole new system as we learn one new game every single month. Super fun. So other than that, if you missed anything today, you can go ahead and watch it on the VODs over on YouTube. I'll throw this up. You can watch all the previous episodes on YouTube at this point. And if you want to play in this game, you can always send me a message and let me know. I can send you the information, and you can make characters just like all these people did, and maybe join an expedition and maybe not get sucked into the Shadowfell somehow. So maybe we'll see. Maybe you will. Maybe you want to. I don't know.
We'll
see.
We'll protect newer players better
Yeah.
than we did. We promise.
Yeah. Poking around in a burrow by yourself has always got to be something's bad's always got to happen. Like the minute you're by yourself.
That's when the clown grabs you from under the bed.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks for showing up, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Outro, mute, transition.